Good. Thanks so much for taking the time this afternoon. Just wanted to start off at the top of this and just ask what went into the decision to take the team to Bend, and what are you kind of hoping to get out of this experience this first week of preseason?
I think it's just a great way for us to kick off this new season, an opportunity for us to all be together, to spend some quality time together, to eat together. We've got a team activity this afternoon. And also I've heard great things about this beautiful city, which is exactly right. It's stunning.
Awesome. We'll roll right into questions. We'll start with Grant Little from Stumptown Footy.
Hi, Rhian. Thanks for taking the time. Can you talk a little bit about some of the new players in camp, like Coffey, Provenzano, and Beckman, how they've fit in with the squad so far? And all three of these players are pretty versatile, so I was wondering if you could give us some insight into where they might be training positionally.
Yeah, they've all done a great job of really finding a place for themselves on the team. It's been quite cool actually seeing their confidence grow as they've arrived and got to know people on the team. I think Sam has had that extra year experience, which you can see in her play, very confident on the ball. She can play probably anywhere in the midfield. And sort of plays at a mature level. She's an impressive player who surprised me actually with her maturity on the ball and off the field as well, and how she's integrated the other two as well. Just exceptional young women who I've put in all different positions across the field as I get to know them and get to know where I think they'll play their best soccer for me. So they've played through the midfield, especially for Gabby, sitting as a 6, and then Nat has been a wonderful sport for me. I've had her wide, I've had her in the midfield, I even played her up top for a little bit, so she's been great.
All right, just a reminder, if you do have a question, to make sure you use the raise your hand function. We'll go to Paul Danzer next.
Hey Rhian, thanks for doing this. I'm just curious about your plan for preseason in terms of building up to the Challenge Cup. What are some major target dates or things as you build that you'll be focusing on? And do you have any friendly matches, scrimmages planned yet?
Yeah, I think we're definitely interested in having a preseason tournament. And those dates will be announced shortly, I'm sure. For me, the most important thing for a new coach, in my opinion, is to get to know the players on and off the field and to make sure I'm really across all the different partnerships and not just what they played last year. It's giving people opportunity as much as possible to earn their spot on the team for me, and to make sure they're getting different. I'm looking at different players up front or out wide, through the middle. So just giving a lot of people a lot of opportunity and making sure as best I can, I spend time with them and get to know them and they get to know me. It's the most challenging thing as a new coach, because we're starting from scratch, even with trust. Simple conversations. I want to know about their families. I want to know how they like to be motivated. I like to know how they want to play. And, that takes time, and we don't have it. It's preseason. We got to get ready for season as quickly as possible.
Do we have any other questions for Coach? Yep, we will go back to Grant.
I was just wondering if you could give us any insight into what this activity tonight might be to close out the day.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's okay that I announce that it's go-karting. It's always a fine balance, finding something fun and hopefully safe. So I think we've put speed limits on it. We've given them lots of strict instructions at the go-kart course, which the players are not happy about, but it's always a balance of an enjoyable activity where you cannot get hurt. Go-karting is right on that line, but we want to make sure we're having fun and all together and making memories as well.
All right, we'll go to Annie Peterson.
Hi, Rhian. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. When Christine Sinclair won the FIFA award, the Lifetime Achievement Award, she talked about how you and her had spoken, and she was willing to go in on another year with the team. What do you see her role being in this year? And, what have your conversations with her been like?
Yeah, I think the first thing is it's everyone's narrative to try and figure out when someone's going to retire, not just Sinky, but probably any player that's getting close to 35 or older. It's the question they always have to answer. So when's your last year? And I recognize that it's even more of a storyline for someone like Christine Sinclair, who's been and continues to be such an icon of the game. What I told her is when you retire is nobody's business. And if you're interested in continuing to push and to get better and to play, there's space for you on this team at all times. She will always bring something. And I said, if you're not playing well, you won't play. And she laughed. She's like, of course not. And I said, I'm going to look at you in different areas. But for me, if you still have that desire to play and to push and to keep getting better, what a privilege to be your coach. And I have been her coach with Canada. And now I'm so fortunate now to wear this emblem and to work with her again. But I said the same thing to Becky. If Sink and Becky didn't want to keep getting better, they could cruise. They could. They're so good. They're so experienced, incredible women as well. But the reason they haven't stepped away from the game and the reason they don't talk about it is because they continue to get better. Their game looks different. They don't rely on pure speed or athleticism anymore, but their intuition, the way they read the game, the way they understand and can communicate to those around them, experience in the women's side is invaluable. And I'm very fortunate to have a lot of it on this Thorns team, as well as a lot of youth. So I think we've got a great balance there.
I will do one last call for questions for Coach. Any last questions? All right, we'll go back to Annie for our last question.
Sorry, so I have one completely off-topic question. Canada is doing amazing in World Cup qualifying, the men. The women won a gold medal. Can you kind of speak to Canada's rise on the international stage, and what is your opinion on why we're suddenly seeing the success from Team Canada?
Well, I think suddenly is in reference to the men's team, because the women have medaled in the Olympics for the last 3 Olympic Games. But I think there's twofold. I think Canada soccer, I can get very frustrated with them. I've already spoken publicly about the fact that Canada will be caught up and overtaken very soon because we don't have a domestic league. Like, our players have nowhere to play. But what they've done a phenomenal job with is hiring incredible coaches. So Bev Priestman winning that gold, John Herdman, the coaches that have come in for Canada make every penny count. There's not a huge budget and they make it count. And I think I'll speak to John Herdman. As someone said, the soccer story at the moment around the world, men or women, is Canada, because of how well they're doing in qualifying. And if you'd ask anyone who ever played for John, they're not surprised, but everyone is in the world because a female coach has been successful on the men's side. And it's a really interesting thing for people to reflect on, because I think people have decided that women's coaches can't go the other way, but men's coaches can come to the women's game, but a women's coach it's not the same game. It's different. They've got a narrative that they're trying to make sense of. And John also really prioritizes the mental game and the culture of the team. And if you ever hear those Canadian men talk, they talk about passion and legacy and playing for the brotherhood, for one another. And that's something that I truly believe in as well, because I was fortunate enough to play for a coach like John Herdman, who emphasized team first in all things. And now you're seeing that success on the men's side. And, I think this is an old storyline that women want to know, and you just tell men what to do. There's a lot of archaic beliefs in the game I love so much. And I think people need to ask themselves some serious questions and to check themselves a bit.